Hello, sword friends. We have a new sword to take a look at. I know what this one is, and I'm really eager to take a look at. So we're going to pop it right open. This is a custom sword, and it should be beautiful. Let's see if I open the right side, if there's a right or a wrong side. Oh, yeah. We're just doing first impressions. We're not going to do much more than just open it up. Is it tied some other way? Oh, there are clips on that end and that end. Okay. I should probably open it this way then. Let's see if I can open this up without it falling out on me. I need a table to be able to open it up. Oh, she's beautiful. Take a look at this. All right, so there's Velcro here. There's Velcro there, just to keep it from running away on us. A little tricky being my own little platform here. I feel at any point I'm going to just have the sword run out. I'm just going to loosen it, and then I'll slip the whole sword out. Wow. Here. Now I'll put down the case. And what we have is a really, really cool saber from Winter Cutlery. So this is a bit of a speculative piece he's been experimenting with. So Eric Estlund from Winter Cutlery, who we've been fortunate enough to see many of his pieces of work on the channel. This is a bit that he's been experimenting with. He's been getting into sabers. We've seen a bunch of falchions from him before, falchions and messers. And as we get into the 16th century and then beyond the medieval period into the Renaissance, in Central and Eastern Europe, falchions merge with the medieval falchion merges with single-edged swords, especially from outside of Europe, and they all kind of blend together. So you have these swords that come from a variety of different names. You have Kurtelas and Dusak and Tessak, a whole bunch of different things that basically mean chopper or lopper in their native tongue. And that's basically where the kind of beginning points of modern sabers come. Sabers obviously existed for centuries before, but the story of the trajectory of sabers in Europe kind of come from this spot. There's a lot of Ottoman influence. So if I take this out, we will see this beautiful, beautiful blade. Oh man, take a look at that. Wow. Oh, wow. This is gorgeous. So this is a piece where he's combining elements from a variety of different sources. So we have Ottoman influence, we have Tatar influence, and then ultimately this is probably mostly Polish. So, um, you know, Hungarian and Polish swords by the mid 16th century are going to after the reformations of the mid 16th century, the Polish military gets a lot of gets a big kick into high gear, and you'll see sabers kind of jump to the forefront, and you'll have all sorts of different types of influence as to where these sabers get their shape from, and certainly you'll have the work of sabers coming from the east, getting giving their influence to it as well. We're going to look up close, but this is an example that starts thick here, has a drop down on the spine, and then stays at a kind of steady state before having the mahmuz, the spine, or the thorn or the spur right here, before having the beautiful flared yeoman. Let me see if he put an edge on it. He did, so this example is sharp. So you can get little sneaky false edge cuts with it. This particular example has an antler grip, which is really, really cool. There aren't too many historic examples of sabers of this type that I know that have that, but I got to see some of the developmental photos, so I knew that it was coming with an antler grip. And let me tell you, it feels great. Like it might look like it would be too slippery or not really good, but it's like the perfect shape for the for a saber. Do I have an example of this type? I didn't really have an example of this type to compare it to, but I could compare it to a very early period of saber, and we might do that in a future video. But in the hand, this is just really maneuverable and fancy. It'll balance right about there. See, I can do it just by eye. And we have his wonderful maker's mark right at the back. The etching has done great. His little laser work on the cross, and it is mirrored with the designs that he has on the shape here on the end of the scabbard. The scabbard is done really nicely too. Again, most mass-produced scabbards are significantly overbuilt and quite a bit thicker than historic original scabbards. This gives the impression of an actual original scabbard, the proportions and the feel of one. And it's always a delight whenever I pick one up because it feels like I'm just picking up an actual 16th century scabbard. And let's see how it slots in. Let's put it back in. And it just eases right in just like that. So we have this really beautiful sword from Winter Cutlery that we're going to look at a little bit more in the future. This particular one I probably won't be doing any cutting with because it's going to be available on his website in the not too distant future. So if you would like to own a gorgeous saber from Eric Estlund in Winter Cutlery, I'm sure he could make that happen for you. But this is just a joy to handle. You know, when am I ever going to turn down the opportunity to be able to handle a high-end custom saber? You can see the little end cap here, just like you see on many examples of Crimean swords. Armenian sabers, you see swords that have these kind of small little rounded, very short caps. We had a Ordenka type saber recently that we studied from a Polish maker that had a cap like that. So yeah, just beautiful. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna want to hold this for the rest of the day. It's just such a beautiful sword in the hand. Let's see if we have any wind from it. Wow, man, this is beautiful. Man, this is lovely. Okay, so I'll end the video with some beauty shots of it so that everyone can get up close and personal with the saber. But this is just another lovely example from Winter Cutlery. Everything that we would expect from Eric Estlund. As always, I'll link to his website so that you can see the rest of his work. I don't think that this particular sword is listed yet, although if you're just champing at the bit and you want to get a hold of it before anyone else, I'm sure you could reach out to Eric and he could make that happen for you. So here's a preview of a sword that will be up and coming on Winter Cutlery's website, the beautiful conjectural saber from the 16th century. All right, guys, until next time, take care.
Ziemi